The countdown hits 1, the arena explodes, and suddenly the man everyone counted out might be standing in the ring again. Because if you think Seth Rollins' story ends with a shoulder injury and a quiet fade into the background, then Royal Rumble 2026 could be the night WWE proves you wrong in the loudest way possible. Right now, Seth Rollins is officially on hiatus. A real-life shoulder injury has forced one of WWE's most influential stars off television, removing the heartbeat of Monday Night Raw and leaving a massive void at the top of the card. But in WWE, absence doesn't kill momentum. It multiplies it. And with Royal Rumble season approaching, the silence surrounding Rollins feels less like an ending and more like the calm before something violent, personal, and completely unpredictable. The Royal Rumble has always been Seth Rollins' playground. It's where chaos rewards creativity, where broken bodies become dangerous minds, and where returning stars don't just come back, they make statements. That's why fans aren't just hoping for Rollins' return. They're bracing for it. Because when Seth Rollins comes back, history tells us he never does it quietly, and he never comes back unchanged. But this time, there's something different hanging in the air. This time, the return might not belong to Seth Rollins alone. Before the injury, before the hiatus, before the curtain closed on his WWE presence, Seth Rollins' world collapsed in the most brutal way possible. Bron Breakker didn't just attack Rollins, he betrayed him. He ripped apart the foundation of the Vision and rewrote its power structure in one vicious moment on Monday Night Raw. That wasn't just a storyline beat, that was a declaration. The Vision no longer needed its creator. And Seth Rollins was no longer in control of the monster he helped build. For Rollins, betrayal isn't new. But this one cut deeper because it wasn't random. It was surgical. Bron Breakker didn't attack out of chaos. He attacked to take over. And in doing so, he transformed the Vision from Rollins' brainchild into something darker, colder, and far more dangerous. A version where loyalty was replaced by domination, and leadership was enforced through violence instead of vision. Then Rollins disappeared. In his absence, the Vision didn't slow down. They escalated. Without their former leader standing in the way, the group unleashed itself on Raw with ruthless efficiency. And that's where the second piece of this story quietly fell into place. Because while Seth Rollins was gone, another star found himself standing alone against the same enemy. LA Knight. The megastar didn't plan to inherit Seth Rollins' war, but WWE doesn't ask permission when it hands someone unfinished business. After Rollins was taken out, LA Knight became the most vocal, visible threat to the Vision's new regime. He fought them in the ring, he challenged them on the mic, he refused to step aside. And for that, he paid the price. On an episode of Monday Night Raw that many fans still talk about, LA Knight was systematically destroyed. Not just beaten, erased. The Paul Heyman alliance made sure of it. Bron Breakker stood at the center of the storm while Bronson Reed and Logan Paul joined the ambush backstage, turning what should have been another chapter in Knight's rise into a brutal reminder of how power really works in WWE. When the dust settled, LA Knight was gone. No follow-up, no explanation. No comeback promo, just silence. And in WWE, silence is never accidental. Now connect the dots. Seth Rollins sidelined with a shoulder injury, forced to watch his creation turn against him. LA Knight taken out by the same group, erased after refusing to bow down. Two of the most defiant personalities in WWE, both silenced by the Vision, both left with unresolved scores, and both absent as Royal Rumble season begins to take shape. That's not coincidence. That's setup. The Royal Rumble isn't just about winning a match. It's about timing. It's about shock. It's about the moment when everything you thought you understood collapses in real time. And WWE has used the Rumble for years to reintroduce stars who were written off, forgotten, or underestimated. Edge. John Cena. Triple H history shows us that when WWE wants to reset the landscape, it does it with a countdown and a surprise entrance. So imagine this. The Men's Royal Rumble match is underway. Bodies are flying. The ring is filling. The Vision has numbers. Bron Breakker stands tall, dominating the field, surrounded by the very system he hijacked from Seth Rollins. The match feels inevitable, controlled, predictable. Then the buzzer hits. A familiar sound echoes through the arena, a sound that hasn't been heard in months. Seth Rollins' music hits. The reaction would be instant, not just loud, but emotional. Because this wouldn't be a nostalgia pop. This would be the return of a man who never got closure. A man who didn't lose his spot. A man who had it stolen while his body failed him. Seth Rollins wouldn't be returning to chase glory. He'd be returning to reclaim his narrative. But what if that's only half the story? Because the Royal Rumble doesn't belong to logic. It belongs to chaos. And the chaos deepens when the countdown hits again later in the match. Another number. Another surprise. Another music cue that nobody expects. Knight.no warning. No leaks. No teases. Just the megastar storming down to the ring with unfinished business written all over his face. The crowd wouldn't just react. They'd erupt. Because suddenly, this isn't just about Seth Rollins' revenge. It's about a shared enemy, a shared injustice, and a shared opportunity to tear down the Vision from the inside out. Seth Rollins and LA Knight have never been allies. They don't need to be. They don't need matching gear or handshakes or long-term loyalty. All they need is the same target. Bron Breakker, the Vision. The system that thought it could erase them both and move on. The Royal Rumble. Alliances don't need contracts. They need timing. And the timing couldn't be more perfect. For Rollins, eliminating members of the Vision wouldn't just be strategic. It would be symbolic. Each elimination would be a reminder that the group never truly escaped his shadow, that the Vision was never stronger without him. And when the moment comes face to face with Bron Breakker, the man who betrayed him, the confrontation wouldn't need words. It would be vengeance in its purest form. For LA Knight, the Rumble would be redemption. Not a comeback story, but a declaration that he wasn't broken. That the ambush, the beatdown, the backstage attack didn't end his momentum. It just delayed it. Taking out members of the Vision alongside Rollins wouldn't make Knight a follower. It would make him a disruptor. Someone who refuses to let power go unchallenged. And that's where WWE thrives. At the intersection of personal grudges and career-defining moments. The beauty of this scenario is that it doesn't require a happy ending. Seth Rollins and LA Knight don't need to win the Royal Rumble. They don't even need to trust each other beyond a few eliminations. All they need to do is shift the balance of power. Expose cracks in the Vision's armor. Remind the locker room that Bron Breakker's empire was built on betrayal, not dominance. From there, the road writes itself. Rollins versus Breakker. Knight versus the remnants of the Vision. Or even a temporary alliance that explodes the moment the common enemy falls. WWE doesn't need to over-explain it. The Rumble would do the storytelling for them in real time. And that's why this potential return feels so dangerous. Not just because Seth Rollins might be back. Not just because LA Knight might return alongside him. But because together, even briefly, they represent everything the Vision tried to eliminate. Individuality. Defiance. Unpredictability. Royal Rumble 2026 has the chance to be more than a match. It can be a reckoning. A moment where injuries, betrayals, and silences collide into one chaotic eruption that resets Raw's power structure overnight. So, here's the real question. If Seth Rollins returns at the Royal Rumble, should he stand alone and hunt Bron Breakker on his own terms, or would an unexpected alliance with LA Knight make the destruction of the Vision even more satisfying? Drop your take in the comments, because this is one WWE moment where the fallout could shape the entire year.